This podcast is brought to you by Contessa Digital.
Throughout my teenage years, I would have a fight with my parents every year. So, first, you have to understand that I was a fat kid growing up, right? And I didn't start to lose the weight and not be chubby until I reached high school, ninth grade specifically. And then from ninth grade all the way through college, my weight would fluctuate. So I would lose a few pounds, gain a few pounds, lose a few pounds. Never as big as I was when I was younger. In fact, my weight when I was in 7th, 8th grade, so when I was 12, 13, was higher than my weight when I was like 21, 22. But, I still had that fluctuation. I still, had the fluctuations in clothing size as well, which brings me to the argument that I would have with my parents. So every year, my mom would try to do some spring cleaning, and that would include, going through stuff in the house, getting rid of what we didn't need anymore, taking it to Goodwill. And I would always have to fight on both sides because in my dad's case, he didn't want anything to be gotten rid of, especially with my weight fluctuating. He wanted me to keep all the sizes, right? Because he was like, you have perfectly good clothes. I don't want to pay for more clothes if, you lose the weight or gain the weight and you're just going to need that size again. So you just need to hold on to everything. On the other hand, I would have the argument with my mom on the other side because, I would get rid of a few things every year and my dad would try to make me hold on to those few things. While my mom was like, you're not getting rid of enough. She would point out things like, even when I was in college, so say my sophomore year of college and I was 19, 20, I still had stuff from ninth grade that I would try to hold on to. And my mom was like, that doesn't fit anymore. And even if it did fit, it's not even something you would really wear anymore. By the time you can wear it, you're not going to be interested in it. And I would still try to hold on to it because, ninth grade was when I reached my smallest size. I was like a size 2. And size 6 me had these thoughts that she was going to get back down to a size 2 again, right? So it was this constant struggle of wanting to hold on to things that I didn't even want. I just didn't want to lose it. Now, you may be wondering what this has to do with a dating and relationship podcast. And I'm going to explain that this is how some men treat you. Welcome to Confidently Cherished. My name is Keshia Rice. I am a dating coach and hypnotherapist. I help ambitious women learn how to heal from their unhealthy patterns and attract healthy, cherished relationships. And that brings me to this idea of people being afraid to lose you. One of the secrets to having a healthy, happy, loving relationship is you need to be in position where the person you are with knows that you care, knows that you want to be with them, but also understands that you don't need them and that you are not afraid to walk. Because here's the thing. A lot of men will stay in relationships even if they're not in love with that woman, as long as the relationship somehow serves them. So that could be, sharing resources and going 50-50. That could be the prestige of being with a woman like you, someone who is so smart and ambitious and accomplished and all of that. It could be a myriad of things, right? And because of that, they can stay in relationships where they don't necessarily love the woman, and that can lead to mistreatment. What can also lead to mistreatment is this feeling of complacency that, you are so in love with them that no matter what, you're not going to leave. This is why you hear so many women talk about honeymoon phases and love bombing. And they talk about this idea of, well, he did all of these things in the beginning, but now we're together and the behavior's dropped off. He's not as nice as he was before. He's not as caring, not as concerned, not as generous, not as all the things, right? And this is why I personally recommend that before you marry someone, you get to know them in literally all 4 seasons. So at least a year before marriage. You need time to get to know that person, and you need time to get to know them after the honeymoon phase wears off, right? But also, there can often be this sense of complacency where you're in the relationship, you are constantly professing your love and cherishment and commitment. You put up with things that you said you were not going to put up with before, or you never speak up for yourself when there's a disagreement. You never advocate for yourself. You never express your standards, your boundaries, your deal breakers. And because of that, this person assumes that they have you. And I'm not saying that to make men out to be bad people. This is human nature. It is why I told the story about my clothes at the beginning, right? Because I had all of these clothes in my closet and didn't even think about them. When they didn't fit, they didn't fit, whatever. I had other things that I could wear. It wasn't until the yearly spring cleaning came that there would be clothes that I hadn't touched in more than a year. All of a sudden, this is the cutest dress ever. This is the cutest skirt ever. I must hold on to it, right? Because I was about to lose it, because my mom was definitely surely ready to toss it out and send it to Goodwill. And I would fight. I would fight so hard to be able to hold on to that outfit. And, my dad on the other side too, because again, I would, not hold on to everything. The things that I was willing to get rid of, my dad wanted to hold on to because he didn't think about these things during the rest of the year. Like, what does he care about, teenage girl clothes other than, my dad was a preacher, so making sure my clothes were church appropriate. But other than that, he didn't care, except for when it came to the thought of him losing money when, inevitably I gained 10 pounds or lost 10 pounds and needed, to go back to a size that I had worn before. So it's the same in relationships. People can reach this point of complacency. And once they reach that, they don't necessarily think about doing all the things that they did to keep the relationship to begin with. And as I'm saying this, I want you to think not only about your partners, but also you yourself. Have you ever gotten into that situation where you were with someone and you didn't truly appreciate them for who they were? And if so, I'd like you to do some journaling on that and how you can be better in the future with holding on to important relationships. But if you're on the other end where you feel like you were dating someone and they were moving heaven and earth in the beginning to be with you and now not so much. Also, there is an ambulance or a fire truck or something outside. So if you hear that, I apologize. But if you are on the other end of that, where you were dating someone and everything was sunshine and rainbows and the person was pulling out all the stops to impress you, and now they take your presence, they take your participation in this relationship for granted, there are some things that I would like you to do. One, really consider how they're treating you, because you may have reached a level of disrespect towards you in which this relationship is no longer worth continuing. That happens. You move on, you live, and you learn for the next relationship. Now, if you are staying, then you need to make sure you have a life. You need to have your own hobbies, your own interests, your own relationships outside of this relationship. No, I don't mean cheating. I mean friendships, time with your family, all of that stuff. Because you will see this commonly in abusive relationships. Abusers do their best to isolate their victims, to have their victims cut off family and friends and everything, so that the abuser is the only person they have. So the person will stay in the abusive relationship because they have nowhere else to go. They have no other type of support system. Similarly, even in a normal, healthy relationship, you need other people around. The fact that you are getting love, attention, care, consideration from other people makes you not as desperate. So because of that, the person that you are with romantically knows that they have to treat you well because you're not afraid to walk. Because you know that if you walk, then yeah, losing that relationship will hurt, but you have other relationships. You have other people in your life who love you and who care about you. And, you'll heal from that. You also need to have a life as in other things to do. You cannot make one person your entire universe, your entire social calendar, everything. If you do that, again, it puts you in a place of desperation. It puts you in needy energy and clingy energy. You need to have your own hobbies and interests outside of this relationship. By doing that, you will understand that while a loving romantic relationship is incredibly fulfilling and it is a beautiful thing to have, you can also find fulfillment and satisfaction in other ways as well. And in the event that this person doesn't want to love you and respect you enough to do whatever they need to do to hold on to you, then you can know that while you leave that relationship and wait for someone who can give you the attention and love that you deserve, it's not going to be the end of the world while you wait. That you have other things to occupy you. And also those other things and other hobbies and activities could be how you meet the person who is right for you. But having your own life is a major key to being attractive and to staying attractive. Being willing to learn and grow keeps you interesting. It gives your partner the chance to constantly learn new things about you, to see you from the perspective of other people's eyes, to find new ways to fall in love with you all over again. And it gives you more confidence so that, again, you're not as afraid to speak up for the things that you want. You're not as afraid to communicate your needs and your desires. Because you know that at the end of the day, you can love yourself. You can be happy by yourself. You can be happy with your support circle of family members, of friends, any of the loved ones that you choose to keep around you. And you can appreciate the person that you're with romantically as someone who adds to all of that happiness, who adds to you being cherished, who makes a good life even better, but who isn't your entire life. And when you operate from that position, that is a very powerful position to be in. It allows you to hold all the cards to your own life, to be the main character in your story, and to allow people to treat you accordingly. So, I know I talked in the last episode about, the secrets that happily married women won't tell you. about relationships. And this is one of those secrets, is doing whatever it takes to create a fulfilling life, even if your partner weren't around, and allowing your partner to add to that. Doing so allows you to command a lot more respect. So, what are you doing to cultivate that life? To create a life where having the right partner is the cherry on top. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, there's something wrong with desiring to be single. Desiring to not be single. After all, I am a dating coach and I am married. So I value partnership. I value my husband. But I also live in the knowledge that if something were to happen to my husband, or if, he decided to act crazy, I don't know. As much as I love him, I would be okay without him. And because of that, the way I approach him is different. I approach him as a partner that I want to spend time with, that I want to enjoy life with, that I want to do stuff with, that I want to learn and explore and grow with, but that I don't need him to do those things, and he knows that. So there's more respect because of that. So again, let me know what you're doing to cultivate that life for yourself. I am on social media at Keshia Rice, Keshia Rice, Rice, on TikTok, on Instagram, and on YouTube. So till next time, love you so much. Bye. Hey there. So you made it all the way to the end of the episode, which means I have two things to say. One, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. And two, you like me. You really like me. So I would appreciate it if you would show that like by subscribing to this podcast so that more people can hear about it and enjoy it as much as you do. And if you want to know more about any of the links that I mentioned on this episode or any guests that I've had, be sure to go to KeshiaRice.com/links. That's KeshiaRice.com/links. I can't wait to talk to you again in the next episode. So see you then.